Hello, welcome back to Camus Classics. Today we're going to be doing our stereo build out. It's going to be easiest to remove this driver seat. There's 4 bolts that hold it. You have to climb up under the dash to disconnect the radio, and it's up in there a little ways. So the easiest is to take this driver seat out, and then you can lay on the floor to get to it. So we'll just pull those 4 bolts out. This is our interior in this car. These are not the original Firebird seats. They're from like a 73, 74 F-body Firebird Camaro. The original seats are only about this high, hit you right in the middle of the back. They had been swapped out when I purchased this car. The original interior was this black, and it was a white and gray couch material. It looked all right, but it kind of didn't go well with the car. So I had my upholstery guy take out the white and gray, put in this orange houndstooth, which was originally available in �69. This is a 68. This was available in 69, but it is a factory option. Was a factory option to have the houndstooth come in the Camaro, and I believe the Firebird. I know for sure the Camaro, but I think it also was available in the Firebird. If you look at the 2 cars, Camaro and Firebird, they're the same platform. The main differences, there's, for example, in the 68 and I believe the 67, there's these gills. You didn't get those until the 69 Camaro, and they run up here. Other than that, this part of the fender back's the same. Pontiac. If you need to tell a 67, 68, and 69 from the back of the car, 67 has nothing here, 68 has the Pontiac arrowhead, and 69 has the downward swept Firebird logo. And then at the fronts, you can tell they're different. They're completely different. So yeah, let's see what we got here. So before I undo any of this, we're going to hook our battery back up. I haven't bared any wires or anything, so we're okay there. This car has a CD player we'll be removing in the trunk. It is powered off of that deck, so to get the CDs out, we need to eject it. We're not going to be reusing this. We don't use CDs anymore, but our new deck won't operate these. But I'll put the cassette deck back in. And we'll remove our battery. If I didn't do that, we wouldn't get the CDs out. They're not mine technically, they come in the car, so not a big deal, but because I remembered, we'll take care of it. And what reminded me is this big ginormous cable. So that's removal. I really like this. It has a great look, but I just got tired. Every time you go down the road, you'll be traveling along, and all of a sudden the radio will just go out. It'll just stop. The screen will go green, and it takes about 15 minutes. Then it'll go turn. Then you can turn it back on, play 2 or 3 more songs, shut off again. It's common for this, from what I read. I do use that. The new one does have a USB. It's a little more difficult to get to. The new one, I believe, is right in the back of it, so it'll be a little more difficult to get it in and out if I need to change it. But modern USB, you can put 10-20,000 songs. I have to look and see how they have to be done. They're all different. So this one, for example, you could have no more than 255 songs in a folder. I believe the new one's the same, but I can build that out and we'll get the new one in. There's a little bit of wiring I got to cut so I can get these out, but we'll get the new wiring, we'll get it in. The new one is from RetroSound, and you actually have to build it a little bit, meaning it's universal. This one was fit to this car. This is one tech tip I do. When you plug in, this car actually has a little bit of a feedback, so this is a noise canceller. That'll take out a little bit of the, if you get, as you're revving the engine and stuff, if you get the sound of the engine through your radio, this will eliminate a lot of that. But anywhere this plugs in, I like to tape around that. It helps stop that a lot. This one didn't quite do all of that, so I ended up having to put this filter in. But anytime I do that, I do tape it up. Well, welcome back. We're ready to put our RetroSound radio together. It comes in parts, so we need to put it together. So the first step is take the faceplate, and there is a cable that comes out of here. Plug that in, and that side's the bottom. So it has a label on it, this side down, so that's the direction we want to put our knobs. Slide this in, and 4 screws hold it on. I am following the instruction manual. Okay, step 2. So we've got to put our brackets on. That's where those screws go. Okay, so we got our brackets on the side now. This is where we'll use our old one. Just set this one on top. We can actually do a pretty good job gauging our front and back with that. These are the same, so it doesn't matter which side's which. They plug in. There's a little plug here, much like a telephone cord. Plug it in. Feed them through. Put this one in. Feed it through. Okay. Each one gets a little washer. And a little retaining nut. Not tighten it all the way down, because I'm going to set it on top of this old one, and then I can adjust the knobs out from there and get them really close. If we need to do any fine tuning, we can fine tune it when we test it in the car. Depth wise, we're looking pretty good compared to our old one. So now we're going to take and we're going to test it in the car. If you want to meet me there, we'll go there and we'll put it in the dash and see how it fits. Okay, so we're here to the car. We'll reach this up in here. looking at it, I think we want it to come out just a bit. Our knobs are good, so we'll try to avoid messing with those. We'll loosen these up. And slide them in there. I'll just tighten these back too. What I'll end up doing is marking these and pulling them out, because to get to the front screws is be a little easier. And what I'm doing is there's a plus sign basically, and I'm just sliding them all the way to the back. I'll tighten these two. Back ones it's easy to get to. We'll put it back up in there again. Pretty happy with that. Okay, so the wiring, I'm going to do some of it outside of the car. There's two real options. I don't solder, and I've seen where people that don't know how to solder, or those that don't solder real well, it breaks. So I use solderless connections. It's not a big deal. I've never had one that doesn't work because of them. But I'll do these ones outside the car just because it's easier than laying on my back trying to do them, and then I can get one side of it all done. And a good crimp. It's inside the car, so I don't even need to use. They make it a couple different types. They make one that's got a heat shrink on it. They make, you could always put heat shrink over them, but it's inside the car. I don't see the point in it, so I'm just gonna that's the other reason I like to do them outside the car, is it's a little easier, plus if you do something like that and drop it, not a big deal. It's a little bit harder inside the car. get this in and we'll test it tonight. And then that's probably as far as we're going to get. Just because with the Bluetooth, I've got to figure out where I'm going to install that. There's a microphone so that when your phone picks up, it will, you know, you can talk on your phone just like your modern cars. So we'll hop in here and we'll do wiring. So these wire to the factory wiring for the radio. Then they will plug into this guy, which will plug into our radio. It's got a fuse in it, so if you need to, it'll have the fuse. Like I said, I kept the factory harness here, so we'll start with our power ones. Of course, black is an easy one because it's ground. Okay, welcome back. So got the wiring in. Our camera overheated, so we had to let it cool down for a minute. It was basically just continue on crimping the rest of the speaker wires down. We'll take and we'll plug in our radio. We can plug in our antenna. Just set it here, make sure it's not touching any metal, just in case. Powered up. Okay, so we're good. So all we have left is to go ahead and get it mounted back up in there, and it's going to be about the same process. Like I said, I got to figure out where I'm going to mount the microphone. I'm thinking possibly up here on the visor, but maybe on this. And I can run it down in. So we got to figure that out first. And then we'll be ready to put it up in the hole and finish that off. We'll tie up our wires here and make everything look good once we get it done. Before we put the Z in, we'll get it all in, put our gauge cluster back in, because I did have to cut the zip tie that did hold that. So we'll get it up and in, and yeah, we'll come back to you when we get when we decide we're going to run the cable. We probably will run that cable, just because it's going to be kind of boring trying to fish it through all this stuff to get it to where I want it. So we'll come back and show you the finished install. Welcome back. We've got the radio ready to go. We mount our microphone up here off the headline, off the sun visor. Probably the best place I could find for it. We've kind of got the radio up into place. There's a bolt on the back. We have that hooked up. It's loose. So our next step Just push this forward. Slide this in. And it gets these little black ones. And the washer and the little nut. So the washer will go on next. These are just a little hard to get started. Same thing the other side. Okay, so now them started. You don't want to tighten these up too much. But this is what this is where you want to make sure it's, you know, sitting level, that you've got good gaps, and you're just kind of lightly tightening these. In fact, I'm not going to use the ratchet at all, just the socket, because these should just be more of a hand tight. Okay, so those are tight. And then you gotta reach up behind, and they include the bracket. My car already had one. But these shafts are not made to support the full weight of the radio, so you have to hook that up. These just get held in with these. And come around from the top. You just have some nuts that go on the back. So I'll do that other one, but we'll finish up. Of course, I got to tie the wires up and stuff, but that's just use some zip ties and get them up under the dash so they're out of the way. There's 2 sets of knobs on these. The black ones are the back ones. So if you watch when I do that, they're kind of elongated ovals. So you're just pushing them past the first volume and tuner knob shaft to the second shaft. And these ones just have a little groove in them. Just line that groove up with the groove that's in there and push on. Same with the other one. You just kind of twist them and you'll feel when it grabs, and then just push it on. And we are all set. So yeah, I'll tie the wires up. I'll put this gauge back in, get it sitting, straight, and put the C back in, and that will finish this one out. So we got that. Our USB didn't quite fit there, so I will probably put it up here into the, either down where I can get it here, or I can just shove it up onto the ashtray, but we'll be using that. So that pretty well is our radio installation. I believe all we have left on this is to drive it, get the fuel injection system learning, and be at a car show next week. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.